Yeah, we are back. MMA After Hour time. Time to answer some questions. No time to waste. So let's fire up the first one. What is going on in the world of MMA? What isn't going on is the real question. What do we got? Any good ones this week? Sometimes they're a little subpar.
I'm sure there will be good ones, but we'll start with how we always start.
Okay.
Ariel Helwani's question of the week. Which UFC 217 title change surprised you the most, considering the results and finish? The options that you offered were St-Pierre, Dillashaw, and Namajunas. So with over 10,000 votes this week, 75% picked Rose Namajunas.
Wow.
The biggest
Wow.
surprise. Dillashaw second with 13% and St-Pierre last with 12%.
Which is funny because
So
no
a
one
large
was
margin.
picking GSP.
Yes, but I think it's hard to be surprised with the unknown. People wouldn't pick George because he's been off for 4 years. Joanna has been here dominating, and Rose was able to disrupt that and upset her. I think there would have been a lot more people willing to pick George had we, seen the preparation, seen the body of work, known what he's been doing for the last 4 years, and this was his second fight back or third fight back. But with Joanna and Rose, we've seen it, and that was my most shocking fight of that card, and I think the betting odds reflected that as well. So
What a moment.
Most of you.
I want to sit down and rewatch those fights from start to finish. I mean, they were like, I cannot think of if you want to convert a fan. I was talking to someone about this. UFC 73 had a birthday party at a place called the Mean Fiddler in Times Square. And I brought all my brothers, my friends, anyone who lives in New York, my girlfriend at the time. Yes, my girlfriend at the time, which is a weird thing to say, who, of course, then became my wife.
Wow.
And we sat around at this bar and we watched UFC 73, and it was called Stacked. And it was Nate Marquardt against Anderson Silva. It was Sean Shirk against Hermes Franca, Rashad Evans against Tito Ortiz. It was stacked, right? It was in Sacramento, and the card sucked. And I felt so much pressure, and I was so stressed. This great sport that I had been talking so much about did not deliver. That was the card, by the way, that Kenny Florian got bumped to the end and fought Alvin Robinson after the Anderson Silva fight because they went long, and he annihilated him, and he said, "Who wants to see fights finished at 155?" That was the best.
One of the best moments.
Yeah. Anyway, save the live event. If you want to convert a fan, just pop in those 3 fights. I don't know if you could pop in things anymore. People don't pop in things because they don't have VHSs, but just fire those up or turn on the Fight Pass thingy and just put on those 3 fights. I mean, it was just amazing. Like the stories, the emotions, the history. You can't top it. You just can't. You really can't. Beautiful stuff. Okay,
our first question. From Kiro, where does UFC 217 rank in the best UFC events of all time? Is it in the discussion?
It is. It 100% is. It 1,000 because there's only been UFC 33, UFC 205, UFC 214, and this one 217. Those were the only 3 title fight cards, and then never before has the belt changed 3 times. I wonder how many times it's changed twice. There's been a couple. That doesn't happen either. So, I mean, just that alone, the fact that 2 undefeated champions lost their belts, the fact that GSP comes back after the 4-year layoff, just phenomenal. And then the Wonderboy Masvidal fight was fun.
Yep.
Paulo Costa, a.k.a. the Eraser, a.k.a. Borrachinha. That was a beatdown. I felt uncomfortable. I hated that fight. I don't think that fight should have happened. Johnny Hendricks should not be taking that fight. I think his team did him a massive disservice. I get why the UFC did the fight. I get why the Borrachinha team wanted the fight. I get that, but Johnny Hendricks should not be fighting that guy. I mean, I said it. Go back to my tweets. I said that. Anyway, it was action, right? Great. James Vick with the buzzer beater finish. You had the wacky fights. The Walt Harris fight. And then the Alexei Oleinik fight. By the way, New York State Athletic Commission got them both right. One time with the help of replay, but those were wacky fights, but it had nothing to do with New York. They actually got them right.
Yeah.
Randy Brown with the win. I don't know. It was just a great night. So was it the best ever? I remember Dana White saying that about UFC 116 with the Brock Lesnar comeback. There have been great nights, but it's certainly in the conversation. I feel confident saying it's top 3, and I feel very confident saying the top 3 fights were the best 3 fights in a row at the top of a card ever. I mean, it's damn near impossible to top that.
What was this one probably won't. So I guess the question is, what are the other ones in the running? I'm sure.
Yeah, I remember vividly Dana saying 116 was one of the best nights.
199 was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a little weird for me, but yeah.
Sorry.
But no. I mean, obviously it was a great night. The great thing about Saturday, the best thing about it was just how unpredictable it was, right? I mean, who would have predicted all 3 champions losing? Who would have predicted Rose winning that way?
If they did, they made a lot of money on it. That's for damn sure.
They sure as hell did. But that's the thing, like, oftentimes in sports, it feels like you can see the result coming a mile away, you know? Like even the Bills, you know, the Bills were playing great. And Thursday, I remember telling Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal, I'm like, I could see this result coming a mile away that they were going to crap the bed. And they did. Everyone thinks that the Cavs and Warriors are going to play in the finals again, although the Cavs don't seem to be holding up their end of the bargain. But you get my point. Like, it feels at times sports is somewhat predictable.
Yeah. This sport never.
It's just, I mean... It's just so freaking unpredictable, and that was on display. That's the main reason why I stopped watching pro wrestling and I went all in on MMA long ago, because pro wrestling became so predictable. You have no idea what's going to happen in MMA. And, you know, I will say this. Early last week, I was feeling like, man, there's just so much MMA, and it feels like there's oversaturation and overload, and it sometimes feels like a chore with all the nonsense and, you know, just little things about the sport. I don't like the way in which it's going with the uniforms and, you know, the pay and the TV deal and all this stuff. And then a night like on Saturday night just, you know, makes you fall in love with the whole damn thing all over again, you know? So it was just great. I loved it.
2 cards at MSG.
Hey,
great nights.
3 cards at MSG. Throwing that wacky Bellator card. That was a great one too.
There you go.
Fedor getting knocked out.
Maybe it's the karma of having not had it for so long.
Listen, we waited so damn long for it.
You know, we can throw away the Brooklyn cards.
Yeah, no, we're talking about MSG.
Yeah,
like Barclays Center can't hold the can. Barclays Center, the acoustics. Remember the sham that was the Mayweather?
Okay.
Yeah.
From PD and Gia, did McGregor partially inspire GSP's return with Conor taking his spot as the pay-per-view king, capturing 2 belts? Was GSP motivated to get back and reestablish himself as the best ever?
I think Michael Bisping winning the belt inspired his return. I remember walking down the street. I don't know if I've ever told this story, but I was walking down the street. It was around June. It was right after he beat Rockhold, and I got a text from GSP, and he said, "Call me." And GSP doesn't, you know, reach out like that very often. And I called him, and he said, "I'm ready to come back." And I said, "Wow, this is incredible. I can't believe that you're telling me this." And I had to keep it under my hat for a bit. And I said, "Against 2?" He said, "Guess." And I remember throwing out Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz, maybe BJ Penn. I threw out some names. And he's like, "Nope, Michael Bisping." I wasn't even thinking 185, but Bisping had just become champion, winning his fighter. He wanted that shot. Look, Bisping's right.
Yeah, Bisping.
He saw the opportunity. He saw the opportunity. For whatever reason, he wanted that fight. He saw the opportunity. He thought it was a good matchup. And so I think Bisping beating Rockhold got the wheels really in motion. And you're wondering, okay, well, that was 199. That was like a year and a half ago. Well, remember, there were so many stops and starts. He declared himself a free agent. Remember on this show?
Yep.
He said he's back, then free agent, then the MMA thing. By the way, crazy stat from Tim Kennedy: 2 out of the 5 guys who were at that initial press conference are now champions. Yeah, Dillashaw and GSP. Not like they're doing much with it, but kind of funny. So anyway, I think that's really what got the wheels in motion.
And Bisping outlined that himself, like all throughout the fight. He said, "George picked me as an easy win. That's why he's coming back, and I'm going to prove that it's not."
And by the way, credit to George, though. He said that he was going to go for the finish. He said he was going to be more aggressive, and I think most of us thought, yeah, right. You're going to try to just do the old.
I did roll my eyes.
Yeah. First round, super aggressive, gets the I mean, we haven't seen George that aggressive probably since the second Matt Serra fight.
And maybe for good reason. He did look a little bit spent in the second round.
Yeah.
He was blowing out the gas tank there, but no doubt about it that this was a much more aggressive George. With GSP's return a success, are there other retired fighters who could still come back and compete at this level?
No, because he's the freaking GOAT. People don't do that. And also, he walked away at a young age.
That's the thing. I think he retired as a champion.
Yeah.
It's not as easy to outlet. Most people don't do that. That's the reality of the situation. Except for maybe Conor McGregor, who said thanks for the cheese and then left. So maybe Conor. But no, I personally, I don't think there's anybody out there who, is just laying in the wings and ready to kind of come back on that. George is a very specific example of this.
Yeah. Greatest ever?
We'll get to that later. Should GSP help bring the UFC out of the money fight era by staying at middleweight, or should he be seeking fights that potentially make more money rather than facing the number one contender at that division?
Look, he said it himself on this program. There's a clause in his contract that states he has to fight Robert Whittaker. And I feel like that's a winnable fight. That's no knock on Whittaker. And by the way, I saw some people say, like, why don't you give Whittaker love? I tried to get him on the show. He's flying back to Australia, so all of you can, and we spoke to him before the fight, which,
Yeah.
Whittaker's the nicest guy in the world. And the problem with that fight from a money fight standpoint, they're just going to be so respectful. Did you see that clip of Whittaker going up to him after the fight? He's like, I don't want to fight this guy. I love him. Everyone loves GSP. Everyone grew up watching him. Everyone grew up admiring him. So there's going to be no friction there.
Yeah.
And you see how GSP kind of clams up leading up to a fight. Like Bisping did all the selling. If that fight does as well as it does, Bisping deserves a hell of a lot of credit because he really did a great job promoting it. I'm talking about on pay-per-view. If it does the million that Dana's saying it does.
Yeah.
Or did. So I don't know. I'd like to see him stay at 185 and defend that once, but I do think that there are problems to come against the Rockholds of the world, the Romeros of the world, the Jacares of the world, the Weidmans of the world. These guys are just much bigger.
Who would be that fight if it wasn't one of the contenders? Would it be Conor McGregor?
No, I do not want to see that fight. I'm quite adamant about this. I want to see Conor fight Ferguson. He just fought at 185. Conor fights at 155. I know he fought the 175. I just don't want to see it right now. I don't.
How about a Tyron? Tyron versus George.
Okay, so there are two fights that I want to see for George. Whittaker or Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
That's it. And him fighting for the belt. It has to be for the belt.
I think Tyron and George could be great for two people, whose dance card is
by the way,
full.
It's a phenomenal fight from like a stylistic standpoint. Like I want to see Woodley against him.
Do you want to see it more than Whittaker?
I don't love the idea of Whittaker, sitting on the sidelines, Whittaker, defending the interim belt. I don't even love the idea of vacating the title and making Whittaker the real champion. I want to see the belts mean something. So it's the tough one, but
I have to admit, I kind of want to see Woodley and George
Woodley
do it.
I also want to see Woodley Covington.
I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, but no, those are the two fights. I don't want to see the McGregor fight because that just feels like we're now like bastardizing the whole thing. Like I want to see Conor defend that title against anyone, really. He's not going to defend the 155 belt against George. George's not going from 185 to 155.
Kevin Lee saying he's a big boy these days. He's not making it down to 155.
Listen, at some point, fine. Like at some point, sure, but not next. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not just throwing it out.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see George try to get to 155.
No. It would have to be a 170.
Yeah.
It would have to.
Okay. This is a question: GSP versus Demetrius Johnson on pay-per-view. Who's the greatest? Let's not, say that. But is GSP the greatest? You asked this.
The resume speaks for itself. The 9 straight title defenses. He walks away.
I'll say this.
What?
Everybody was riding this Demetrius thing. The greatest ever. The greatest ever. Greatest ever. That was all we were hearing about DJ.
After
GSP comes back in one fight.
Yeah.
And
makes history.
That clown.
It makes history. I mean, one of 4 men.
That clown? That crown.
By the way, I don't know if I was ever saying that. I often said that the biggest knock on DJ is he's a victim of his resume. He's a victim of his opponent's records, right? Like he just hasn't had that guy. That's why I'd love to see him fight TJ.
Not one person or the other, but there was a lot. This was the thing.
I'm the one who's been saying for the longest time that George, look at that promo that I said. Like, how are you people not excited?
Yeah.
George, he walked away as champion, but he could have broken Anderson's record. He walked away, right?
Is a win over Bisping at this point in their careers?
Coming back after 4 years and becoming a champion when that's only been done, 3 other times prior is a pretty damn big deal. Look, at the end of the day, we could all debate this. I feel uncomfortable about this because it feels like I'm knocking DJ, and I'm not because I have so much damn respect for the guy. And if you want to say DJ, more power to you.
It's a very messy kind of thing.
It kind of comes down to 2 now because
John is taking himself out of this.
Yeah, he's unfortunate, but he has, and Anderson I do think has as well.
Yeah.
And so I feel like those are the 2 guys right now. And
it ain't a bad list to be 1 or 2 on that one.
No, it's 1A, 1B.
I think DJ and George.
I think George gets the nod because of the second belt.
That matters.
Yeah.
That matters. Demetrius went.
This is like the fight of the greatest fight card of all time debate. Like there's really no right answer, and it's a fun debate.
But if you're to use that, if you're to say George got that belt in that second weight class, remember that DJ fought in a higher weight class first and wasn't as successful as George was moving up. So there is a feather in George's cap that he does have over Demetrius in that case.
That's a good point.
But I mean, I agree with you that this is 1A and 1B. Would you be interested in Bisping versus Romero as a farewell match? And you said, where you'd like to see a fight card in Manchester, or would you like to see him against somebody lower? I think a lot of people are saying that he said one more. I don't know if he said one more.
He didn't say one more.
People are thinking that this is one more and done, but maybe that's not it. So
we're trying to make that happen because of the London event. I thought that he was going to say I'm done in the cage. I really did.
Right.
And then he flips the script on us.
I love that he didn't.
Well, he said, I'll be damned if I'm going to walk away after getting choked out on national television.
Yep.
So as they say in England, fair play to you, Mike. If you want to keep going, go ahead. But, the next one is going to be interesting. Look.
Where? Who?
I think it has to be in London, right?
Does it have to be Romero?
I don't think it has to be Romero. I'd love to see that Weidman fight once and for all.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing the third Rockhold fight.
I would not mind seeing any of those. I think Michael Bisping has a lot of options here.
Yeah, of course. He'll always have options because of who he is. I think
he could sell a fight against anybody. So
I think it comes down to those three probably, right?
I'm in for any of them. I think the one I'm most excited about would potentially be Romero and Bisping.
Yeah, there's a great story
heat there. We need to see them get their hands on each other before it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Rockhold, there is genuine dislike there, but we've seen it twice. I'd like to see him at least take a shot at Romero before both of them walk away.
Would be great.
Is Bisping's son the MMA oracle? He chose his dad to win this time, and Bisping lost.
So that's on Callum, by the way.
This is his other son, Lucas, right?
Yes. The youngster who's on Embedded. Yes. Man, I don't want to put that on the little kid. But
it's pretty incredible though that
he did pick against George only because he said George's name was funny.
The whole thing is great. I love the
interaction.
I love the embedded looks into Bisping's life.
It's the best.
It really is. It really is the best. His family
imagine
seems
Bisping
super
as
solid.
your dad. Hilarious.
I think it's just fun.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying bad. I'm not saying bad. He's like a big kid.
Yeah, it's great.
Constant entertainment. And the funny thing is that his son, Callum, seems like a shy, sort of mild-mannered guy. And like Bisping is the life of the party.
It's great. Their family life.
He walks up to the days. He's like, come on, let's hear it. It was great.
Okay. Did Dana give out the number of pay-per-view buys that he did to gain leverage in negotiations with Conor? What is the reason behind pumping these pay-per-views up?
It's hard for me to read. I mean, he also said it was the best year ever. And I still, look.
We'll get to that in a second.
I don't know. I just don't know. Like, you could say that, the Meltzers of the world don't know. Historically, show us the numbers if they're wrong.
A lot of people talk about the pay-per-view numbers. A lot of people talk about it. I think this card's going to do X number of pay-per-views. I think this and that. Does that influence anything? Is there an importance to saying, I think this card will do huge pay-per-view numbers
leading up to it?
I think.
Is
it a fear of missing out thing?
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I think there's something to being like, this is so big, it's going to break records. You must watch it. That's promoter speak, fine.
Yeah.
But saying that this was their best year ever, that to me was just eyebrow raising. I mean, unless their cut of the Mayweather-McGregor card was greater than we all thought, unless they got like 95% of it, I just don't see that's possible.
Yeah.
Like, just go down the list. 208, 209, 210, 211, 212, 213. Where's the $500,000 pay-per-view buy show? It only comes at 214. It certainly wasn't 215. It wasn't 216. 217 looks great. Awesome.
I'm hoping it did great because what a card it was.
Yeah.
If you were able to watch that.
218 is phenomenal, but I fear that it might do like 211. Like, it's a great hardcore fight fan, card, but does that break through? I mean, that's why GSP coming back is a huge deal for the company, not just for Canada, but he's a big star. He's a big deal.
Dana was saying that this did better than Mayweather-McGregor in Canadian buys.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by that, by the way.
No.
GSP is a massive deal. They haven't forgot him there. They should go to the Big O in Montreal, sell that joint out.
I'm thinking that this will do better than we maybe anticipated.
Yes, I do believe so. I do believe so. Yeah, it picked up towards the end.
How big of a chance do you think there's a chance that Conor gets his co-promotion wishes.
I don't think
there's
that he
any
gets
way
a
that this
piece of the
happens.
company, but I do think that they would make the concession and put his name on the thing and give him more. Yes. He has 4 fights left.
Could you have conceived of this from anybody years, like as early as
So
2 or
much
3
I
years
wouldn't
ago?
conceive. I couldn't have conceived the Mayweather fight, you know?
Yeah.
He's
And
playing
all
by different rules.
Conor doing it all.
They just like they made the Mayweather fight and they made concessions there that Lorenzo never would have made in the old days. They'll make a concession here. They need
Good
Conor.
business.
They need Conor. There's no value in having him sit on the sidelines.
No.
He is too popular. He is too good. He's too powerful. What are you going to go to court with the guy? No. They'll figure it out. I have no doubt about it.
Do you believe that this is the best year ever?
I mean, no. Last year was incredible. Last year had 5 million buy pay-per-views.
We're including Mayweather McGregor, right? When we say that.
Okay.
This year.
There's only been one then.
But it's a big one.
Yeah, it's a massive one, but they didn't get they weren't racking that all in. They were sharing that with Mayweather, with Showtime, right? With Conor, I guess. But but now we're talking about the UFC's best year. Like we're just talking about like from a product standpoint, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to go.
196,
Maybe it's not all a financial thing.
200,
Yeah.
202, 205, 207. How do you top that?
It was a huge year.
It was a gigantic year. They sold the company for $4 billion. No coincidence that it was that year. There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
They were at, I mean, that was peak value.
I think the answer for this is like it's impossible for us to say definitively on any of this.
I mean, I feel pretty confident in saying that this year isn't as good as last year.
Last year was massive.
How? I mean, just compare the shows.
Yeah.
Compare the cards. Forget about the numbers. Just compare the cards. The fights just haven't been as big. They've had bad luck.
Outside of the one.
Yeah.
And that was
Conor wasn't around.
A cut.
Conor fought 3 times last year.
Yep.
That's a big difference. He hasn't fought once in the UFC this year. Ronda fought. 2 biggest stars in the history of the sport fought in the same calendar year. Ronda hasn't fought. Right? So, and they had 200, which is the only number that would sell itself, right?
Big year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard one to top, regardless. Okay. MMA retirements don't tend to stick very well. Uriah Faber versus TJ Dillashaw. Are you interested?
I'm good.
Wow.
I'm good. For now, I'm good. I like Uriah in this role. He's doing big things. Let him focus on that. TJ versus DJ. Bantamweight kind of figures itself out. I'm good.
I have to admit, I'm interested.
I'm good. He retired.
I'm into it.
He had a nice moment. Let him be.
I'm into
Stop it.
I want to see
Let him be.
Okay. So let's assume it's not Uriah.
Yes.
And it's actually DJ. Should DJ go up to 135? Should TJ go down to 125? Where do they meet in this?
It's either
this fight?
130 or 125. I'm down with 130, by the way.
Why do you say that?
Because no belts are at stake. So then if TJ wins, he doesn't hold up 2 divisions because it's hard to defend the belt. You know, they need champions fighting.
No, not why do you say 130 as a possibility? Why do you say it can't be 135? Why can't DJ go up to 135?
I don't want to see that because he's the king of 125. The whole story here is, you know, coming down there and stopping him.
Chasing DJ.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't want to see him going up. We saw that already. So it's either 130 or 125. Obviously, 125 is probably the sexiest because it's part of the streak and he's going to come down and stop it. That's the most sellable thing, I think.
I'm into it.
I'm so into it.
That's what I want to see.
I'm
125. I don't want to see the catch weight. I don't want to see a 130 pound fight.
I'm so into it.
I'd be interested if DJ says, you know what, I'm coming up and going back to correct what my wrongs at 135. But as long as they can meet at some championship weight, I'm into it.
125 then.
Has DJ found in TJ Dillashaw his most dangerous adversary so far? Would you be excited about this fight?
Yes. And yes.
I agree.
Certainly the most accomplished.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Which was the bigger upset? Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey or Rose Namajunas versus Joanna?
Wow. What was bigger from a betting standpoint?
I think Holly Holm, but let me just double check on that.
I'm going to say the more shocking one was probably Holm because Ronda had been so unstoppable. She's knocking people out in 30 seconds, this, that. So it's funny because Holm was the more accomplished fighter. She had done so much, but I feel like the one that just was like seismic and felt like the whole world had exploded was the Holly Holm one. So
it's about the same. The odds were
Really?
pretty much the same.
I'll give a nod to the Holly one.
I think that's the bigger one, and I think it was more impactful just from a moment, a culture perspective.
For sure. I mean, yeah, because Ronda was just such a big deal.
Yeah. And the way Ronda was finishing everybody to that point, it was a moment in time. Okay. Would you like to see Joanna's next fight be at 125 versus Valentina for a shot against the tough finale winner? Or would you rather see her stay at strawweight?
I like that idea. Had she won, I like the idea now of Valentina fighting the tough winner. I don't think that Paige was telling the truth when she said that she was fighting the tough winner. I kind of feel like I know Rose was dismissive of it, but I kind of feel like that's the fight. I mean, there's the Michelle Watterson versus Tisha Torres fight, but Rose has fought them both and beat both of them. And so I don't really feel like that's a really sellable fight. I feel like they're going to do the immediate rematch. When you're a champion for that long and that dominant, I kind of feel like that's what they're going to do. Am I crazy?
And I don't think it's unwarranted. I think
Man, she got me super excited for her talking about, to be championed by May and all that
There
stuff.
is a part of me that goes, look, that was not an inconclusive finish. That was not a decision. That was a door shutter.
Yeah.
So there is a part of me that goes, I don't know. But at the same time, with what she's crafted in that division, what she's been able to do, I'm not as upset about it as I would be in the case of an instant rematch that was finished that way. But I wouldn't mind seeing another one or two, and then doing it again.
Don't forget about Cynthia Calvillo coming up. She's fighting Carla Esparza, and boy, do they like Cynthia.
Yeah,
they are pushing her. So I wouldn't be surprised if she gets in that picture sooner rather than later. They like Michelle as well. She beats Tisha Torres. She'll get some love. There's still Jessica Andrade. There's still Claudia Gadelha. So this really opens things up at 115. But they love Joanna as well, and I feel like she'll get that immediate rematch. Could be wrong, but I feel like she will.
Should Rose keep the Oasis song as her ring walk?
Yeah, that was a mistake, right?
There was a mistake, and they played the wrong song.
What song was it? How do you mess that up?
I saw it on Twitter, but now I forgot.
I love Oasis. Yeah, sure.
I would say don't rock the boat. Don't upset the karma. Use the story and keep that going.
It was interesting hearing Rose talk about how everything was going wrong last week. And I felt like she was just so calm, cool, and collected the whole week. I mean, that face-off with her saying the Lord's Prayer, which I just learned, it really was like she was doing some kind of voodoo on her. It was amazing. It was chilling to watch.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Oasis.
Opposite personalities. Yeah, no, I agree. Though she was talking about everything going wrong, including this song.
Yeah, crazy.
Not her.
Imagine.
What do you make of the stoppage in Blades and Oleinik?
Yeah, I thought it was the right call. Look,
a weird scenario though. The way
did it touch? Did his foot touch? I don't know. It's impossible to tell. And they said that they looked at the replay. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
And they made the right call, and it seemed like he was surprised. They thought that they were gonna. I think he thought that he was gonna get DQ'd. I don't know if Oleinik was trying to play it off. If it touched, it grazed, and I know how weird those things could be. Like sometimes it looks like it grazes and it ends up hurting more. I don't know, but to me, given the angles, it looked like it was the right call. He said he couldn't continue.
I ultimately agree with that. Yeah.
And then the same thing in the Walt Harris Godbeer fight. I thought that was the right call as well.
That one was very clearly a DQ there. You cannot step over the referee or around the referee to land some strikes. Do you have any commentary, anything to say about Paulo Costa?
Oh my God, I'm so happy. I was about to just interrupt you.
Amazing.
First of all, one of the best looking human beings that I've ever come across in my life. I mean, he is just unbelievable. That chin, that jawline, I mean, he's just the guy. The man is gorgeous, Let's just call it like we see it. He is just an unbelievably good looking person. He is a star. Kudos to Eric Albarracin, his wrestling coach, for rebranding him. I love saying Bohashinia because it's fun, but I think a lot of Americans might have trouble with that one. So going with Paulo the Eraser Costa makes a lot more sense. He's calling out Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson's accusing him of steroids. I want to see the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a phenomenal fighter.
Period.
Yes. He comes up to me, shakes my hand. He's so nice and respectful. I'm getting lost in his eyes. He's something else, the guy. He's got Valide in his corner, cutting promos left and right.
Yeah, I think we have the makings of
he called himself that, right? He's like the next Brazilian legend. Let's see him in Brazil next time in Belém. Should be headlining that show. That is the future right there. That guy's awesome.
Speaking of the future, maybe a future for Daniel Cormier, do we think more commentary from DC will help him with the fans in his fighting career?
Yeah, I think.
Do we think that more exposure to Daniel in that capacity? I think he's fantastic.
He's infectious. He's excited. He's knowledgeable. He doesn't take himself seriously. He's having fun out there. Yeah, he's having fun. Calm down, everyone.
Yeah, DC's great, and I think that group worked really, really
very well. Together. That's a great group. This is supposed to be fun.
What's the people's main event for Norfolk?
Wow. I mean, Matt Brown versus Diego. I mean, Matt Brown retiring. Got to give him props for that. What a great card. It's a fantastic card. Too bad it's going to go up to like 2 a.m., but it's a great card.
I'm surprised you didn't go with the main event like you're to do these.
I'm going Matt Brown, Diego Sanchez.
It is a really good card, man.
It's a phenomenal card. Sage is like the second fight on the prelims.
He is, yeah. Angela Hill and Nina.
Yeah, it's a great card.
Kicking off the Fox prelims. Wow, what a card. Good event coming up here.
Yeah, too bad they only have like 5 days to tell us about it.
My people's main event, I think I'm going to go with I love how this is subjective, by the way. It shouldn't be, by the way.
No, well, no one asked you what your people's main event.
No, yeah, but nobody should ask anybody what the people's main event is. It should be decided by the people. But
I think they'd pick Diego versus
Dodson and Marias.
Fight, yes.
I've got my eye on that.
That's a great fight.
I think that one's going to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's a great fight. Very good. I mean,
super good card, top to bottom. Okay. Where's the footage of Sage's adventures in China? We're missing out. I think that is what we need to work on extracting from Sage Northcutt over the next couple of weeks. We need to figure out how we get that. Sage's travels through China.
Coming to Fight Pass.
Do we have a link to the photos on the background of the MMA Hour set? I'm curious about them. We do have links to them because they're all pictures taken by our very own Esther Lynn.
Yes.
All those photos there.
That over there is my favorite photo of all time. The one on top, Mayhem bowing over Kazushi Sakuraba. That is the best. That one below it is Chris Weidman knocking out Anderson Silva. The one next to it is GSP after the Johnny Hendricks fight. His face is all
lumped.
Yeah. Then, of course, we have Holly Holm knocking out Ronda Rousey in Melbourne. There we have the champ himself at Madison Square Garden last year with the dual belts. And then we have my personal favorite, Gina Carano, just watching over us.
And we also have in front of you...
Still yet to appear on the show, by the way. And then we have the great Dominic Cruz over there and Demetrius Johnson reigning supreme. There's a few other ones in rotation. There's a Daniel Cormier one, a John Jones one. So, yeah, we do have...
So the answer is, where can you find them? You can find them at
just search for them.
MMAFighting.com.
But don't be ripping them off and then like putting them on your website.
No. Respect people's work.
I mean, really.
Since you mentioned Andy Kaufman on the MMA Hour,
yes.
That was last week, not this week. Do you have any favorite comedians that you'd like to share?
Well, clearly you don't watch the MMA Beat because I actually was asked this exact question last week. I wonder if it was the same guy.
Maybe.
And
I don't watch the MMA
Yeah,
Beat.
Thanks a lot. I said Jerry Seinfeld was one of my favorites.
Ugh.
What?
That's your answer?
The F is your problem. He's incredible. His stand-up is phenomenal.
I actually saw him once in the city.
He's incredible.
He is good.
Louis C.K. I like very much. Chris Rock is great. I was a huge Martin Lawrence fan back in the day. His stand-up was great. There was one where he was wearing the big leather outfit. He was phenomenal. Richard Pryor, I enjoyed back in the day. Yeah, those are some that come to mind. Oh, I love Patrice O'Neal.
Yes.
The late, great Patrice O'Neal. He was hilarious.
That's a pull right there. There you go.
Yeah. How about you?
Patrice for sure makes that list. There's a lot of guys. Big fan of stand-up. A lot of the same ones you mentioned.
Andy Kaufman.
Doesn't make the list for me, but Carlin Pryor, kind of grew up watching those. Eddie Murphy, contemporary, like a Hannibal Buress.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. is great.
Victor Zone.
I wish we could claim that, but there's stand-up comedy's in a good place right now. Okay, our last question.
Yes.
From Kristen.
Yes.
Is it lame
yes.
that Kristen looks forward to Mondays just because of the MMA Hour? What is your answer to this?
No.
Of course not, Kristen.
Now, as John Beer would say.
Wow. Shout out to John Beer. Jack Taylor
Thank you
PR.
to all the fans who tune in and who are excited and who always ask me, why don't you have this person on? I love those people.
No, stop.
Oh, stop it.
Great show today.
Everyone in New York was so nice last week, showing me on their phones. I watched the show. I listened to the show. And look, we give you 5-6 hours. You watch it for the entire week, and then we come back for more next week. But is it possible we'll be back this week for an extra special edition? Stay tuned.
I mean, stay tuned. You'll find out.
You'll find out.
But the answer, Kristen, of course not. You're the coolest.
You are the coolest. Thank you.
Tune in every Monday.
What a day. What a day it has been. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, New York Rick. Thank you very much to everyone in the back. What a day. What a week here in New York. As we say, kind of good night. I feel like we'll be talking about 217 for many, many, many days, many weeks to come. Card of the year, no doubt. Fights of the year, finishes of the year, stories of the year. It had it all. But now we have to say goodnight. So hit my music if you can. What a fun day it has been. A who's who. By the way, shout out to OSP. We didn't really mention him. Great victory. Beating Okami at Saitama Super Arena. And then 42 days later, going to the world's most famous arena and knocking out Corey Anderson. How about that? Ed Ruth with another win. Didn't mention him. And how about our good friend Goyito Perez signing with Combate Americas. They have a tournament this weekend as well. Another busy week. Bellator, Combate Americas with their tournament on NBCSN. And, of course, the UFC in Norfolk, Virginia this weekend. So another busy week of MMA coming up. But for now, we shall say goodbye. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who stopped by. An amazing who's who guest list today on the program. Thank you very much to Rose Namajunas. Congratulations to her, sincerely, from all of us. To her, Pat Barry, her whole team. Trevor Whitman getting a UFC champion. Great story there. Thank you very much to Freddie Roach. Congratulations to him and the team on the big victory for Georges St-Pierre on Saturday. Best of luck to our good friend Sage Northcutt. Looking forward to his return on Saturday night. Thank you very much to James Vick for stopping by. What a great victory for him on Saturday against Irish Joe Duffy. Appreciate Uriah Faber for coming on and for shouting out my brother's company, 20 T's. Thank you very much to Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Can't thank her enough for stopping by as well. She will be back. And of course, thank you very much to Kevin Lee and Randy Brown for stopping by. Congrats to Randy Brown. And finally, congratulations to the new UFC Bantamweight champion, TJ Dillashaw. Appreciate his time as well. Back next week, maybe sooner. Until then, say peace. Samaria.